I'm here with Parker Applewhite, Sergeant of Law for Azle High School.
Yes, that's correct. Not only do I write contracts, I also perform in court, making sure that the law is followed as it is written.
Well, speaking of your role in the courts, can you give me a layout of the daily work you do inside the courts?
I keep order on solved and unsolved cases, as well as writing contracts and performing in the court, and not only ensuring that the law is being followed, but punishing those who do not follow.
Interesting insight. And what is something you like to do in your free time?
Well, I buy lots of land, and I like to spend my time working on that land and expanding my land ownership as much as possible.
Okay, moving back to your work, who fills your position and all its duties when you are not available?
Well, I'm not the only sergeant of law. There are a small number of us who perform in the court, but there are always someone else to fill my duties.
Good to know that there are others you trust to fulfill your work if needed. What keeps you going in your job? What makes you continue in your line of work?
Upholding the law and resolving conflicts makes the world a better place day by day, in my opinion. So the good I do is what I would say keeps me going.
Good to know. Now, what kind of the environment is it like in your field?
My job requires me to be disciplined and put on a good front. I'm representing the courts after all, so by virtue of that, the environment is professional, straightforward, and disciplinary. My job is to resolve issues and discipline those who don't follow the law, so it's all business inside the courts.
Understood. Now, are you noticeably discreet? Why is that?
I've always been an introvert and stuck to my work, but there's no definitive reason as to why.
And any words for those who want to become a sergeant of law?
Becoming a sergeant of law is a very hard task and requires a lot of work and dedication, just as many other careers do. This job requires you to isolate yourself and focus, so get used to being on your own and being your own best friend, but despite all that, it's worth it in the end.
Working off that, can you explain why isolation is so important?
My job requires the remembrance of 400 years of case law, and the best way to take all that information in and remember it is to constantly study with no outside distractions. The reason for remembering this is because every court ruling and contract written requires a reason for that outcome. You must be able to articulately explain why you made the decision you did.
Well, I want to thank you for speaking with me and giving us all a better look into what you do.
Thank you for having me, and I was happy to cancel all my other plans for this interview.